Hi, welcome to VUSM 300, Serving the Common Good. I'm Krista Clements-Orland, your instructor, and this is the first ever online version of the class. What this is our weekly intro video. I'll be doing one of these for each week of class. It is a kind of a synopsis of what the week's going to entail, what you should have done in preparation of the week, as well as then looking ahead to upcoming assignments and weeks. So this video is going to be not only about week one, but also about the course in general, just because this is our very first introduction video. All right, personal introductions. Where I'd like you to make your personal introduction is in our Cyber Cafe, and that's located on the Moodle course site. During the first week, this will be an open area for us to all introduce ourselves. I have posted instructions and a few questions that I'd like you to hit upon in your personal introduction. After this week, though, the Cyber Cafe is going to become an instructor-free zone. And so it's a place that you guys can go to just speak off course topic, or to do course-related matters that you don't want grading, or for whatever reason you don't want and the instructor, me, to have access to. So, but this first week, please post your personal introduction, and that is due Monday, June 29th at midnight. And you'll find that all of the assignments are due by midnight on the date that they're due. Another thing that you need to do, if you haven't already, is take a look at the course syllabus that is posted at the very top of our Moodle class site. I will, as the syllabus changes, if there are any changes, I will post updates of that on the site and let you guys know through the announcements that I've updated the syllabus. It's important for you to take a look at this, because it totally outlines exactly what's expected of you as far as reading assignments, other course assignments, due dates, all of the course specifics are there. The Moodle site very much mirrors that, but not all of the information is going to be contained on the course site. So make sure you look at the syllabus. Okay, so week one prep work. In order to have gotten ready for this week, there's some work that you should have been doing in the last week or two. I had posted made the Moodle site accessible about 2 weeks ago, so you could start working on these things. So for getting ready for this week, you were to have read this book here, Cress, Learning Through Serving. This is one of the common textbooks everybody who in the VUSM 300 reads out of this book. For this week, you should have read chapter 1, which is entitled "What Are Service Learning and Civic Engagement," which is an article kind of talking about the theory behind service learning and how service learning is different than volunteering, internships, maybe other sort of mission trip experiences or interpersonal experiences you've had in other courses. And then chapter 2 is about, it's entitled Building and Maintaining Community Partnerships, which is something that you should have accomplished by now, is getting in touch with a community partner for you to be doing your service at. I'll be going into this a little more, but you all have been assigned to a service group where all the people in that group are sharing similar service experiences. There's 2 of them. One is food, and for people who are working at like food shelves, soup kitchens, other organizations that are serving the human need of food. And then the other group is housing, which is also another basic human need. So those people are going to be serving at homeless shelters, helping to build and repair houses, maybe working at a halfway house, doing some service there. So you've each been assigned to one of those groups. You each should have identified a community partner that you'll be doing your service at in those areas. And this book, that chapter, will help you understand more your role in those organizations as a service learner with a community partner. And as things progress, help you to be able to identify needs that organization may have that we can help through the crowdfunding project that we're going to be doing as a class together as a service project. The other book that you should have read by now is Loeb, Soul of a Citizen. This is also one of the common textbooks for VUSM 300. And this book, let's see, you should have read chapters 1 through 4. And basically, Soul of a Citizen, it's a really easy read. It's a lot of stories and anecdotes about people's experience serving, advocating, being involved in politics, all those ways that we really have a civic duty to get engaged in for the common good. So that's what you should have read by this point. There is some paperwork that is going to be due this week that's really necessary to get done prior to being able to engage in your service. The first one is the Pre-Service Learning Survey. This is an online survey. I think it might be SurveyMonkey, that the university asks all VUSM 300 students to take right away at the beginning of the class. The university is assessing the effectiveness of this course. And so you'll have this survey that you're going to be taking now, and there will be a final survey at the end of the course that you'll take so that they can assess changes in attitudes and how this service learning experience has affected you. This pre-service learning survey is due Monday, June 29th by midnight. There is a service learning proposal form that you need to have filled out, and you sign along with a representative from your community partner that is due to me by Wednesday, July 1st. This form outlines some goals that you have for your participation with this community partner. It kind of just sets up that the community partner is committed to you serving there, realizes you're doing this for a class, and is going to do the best that they can to make this service happen for you. It's important that I receive this before you begin your service. That's why it's due by July 1st. And there's a submission link that you should scan and send a PDF or whatever through that submission link. There is an online liability form that you also need to fill out before you start your service. Completion of this form is due on Sunday, July 5th. And that, like I said, is online, and that's something that the university requires for insurance purposes. Along with that, Viterbo is asking that you go on VitNet and update your emergency contact information. Once again, they'd like you to do this prior to your first instance of service. And then there also, in the week 1 folder, is a service hours log that you should print off and take with you when you're going to your community partner for your service. This is where you'll be keeping track of the amount of time that you will be serving there, and Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You need to have a representative from your service partner sign it, just to prove that you actually did the time that you said you did. And that will be, there will be a submission link for that in week 7. So once you have your service time completed, you can submit that. Let's see. So service hours. Just to kind of give you some specifics about what's expected, since that's different. That's what makes this a service learning class as opposed to any of the other classes that you've taken before. You are required to complete 8 instances of service, with each instance being a minimum of 1 hour each. So at the very minimum, you will be doing 8 hours of service. You certainly, though, we're hoping that you'll do more than that. You can do more than 8 instances of service, and each of those instances could be longer than an hour. But at the very minimum, we're looking for 8 service hours over the course of the 7 weeks. You need to have at least 1 hour of service completed by the end of this week, because your first paper is due next week Monday, and in order to write that paper, you have to have 1 instance of service in order to reflect upon and integrate with the course content. So make sure that you get that taken care of. Each week, you will be writing an expectation post. And this is something really simple. There's no word minimum. This could be words, phrases, a few sentences about after reading the materials that you needed to read and getting ready for this week. What is it that you're expecting that we're going to be talking about in the large group discussions, or that you're hoping at least that we're going to be talking about? Maybe you have some questions from the readings that you would like some clarification on. I'll be using those expectation posts to create the live online lecture and discussion that we will be having every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. So the expectation post of yours is due every Monday, and then I'm able to create then the lecture content from that. Let's see here. So the large group, since we're talking about the large group lecture and discussion, I'm going to be using anymeeting.com in order to host those lectures. You'll be sent an invitation to the meeting through anymeeting.com. The lecture with PowerPoint and our discussion, live discussion, will be recorded. So if you aren't able to actually attend live on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, you then can watch a recording of the large group lecture and discussion. And so live participation is not required. It definitely is recommended if you're able to, but I understand that, work schedules, vacation schedules, whatnot, you may not be able to be at those live lectures, and so that's why it's recorded, so you can at least view them. Okay, so that's large group discussion work. We also are going to be having small group discussions, and those are in those service groups that I was talking about before, the food and housing service emphasis groups. There is a special discussion section for the service groups. Every week on Wednesday, your initial post to the discussion question of the week will be due. You post this, you go to your service group's discussion board, and you need to post that initial response to the questions. Then you need to reply to each of your service group members' initial posts by Saturday of the week. There's different word minimums for each, so take a look at that. What else about that? Oh, yes. The participation requirement for the small group discussions is that your initial post and your replies to your service group member posts need to be done over a minimum of 2 instances. So what this means, what you can't do is just like sit down on Wednesday or Thursday if you're gonna do your initial post late, and like do the initial post and respond to everybody else's post in one sitting and be like, okay, I got that done for the week. I want you to come back at least twice, and certainly you're welcome to come back more. I'd like to get as much of a discussion feel amongst your group as possible. You know, once you've met those word minimums for the initial and the reply post, you can certainly continue discussing, and then there's no expectation as far as word minimums. You can just naturally respond to each other. And these discussions will help you in the paper writing that you'll be doing, which is, there are several papers that you'll be writing over the course of the 7 weeks. Let's see. What else? Yes. The discussions will be graded according to a rubric. However, I will only be applying the rubric to 1 or 2 people a week randomly. So each discussion, each weekly small group discussion offers a minimum or a maximum of 12.5 points. And if you do all of your posts for that week on time and you've reached the word count minimums for those posts, you automatically will receive a 12.5 points for discussion that week, unless you were the one who has been chosen to be randomly graded according to the rubric. And if you are that person, then I'll take the rubric, which you can find in the small group discussion area if you want to check it out, and I'll apply the rubric to your grading. So it'll be a little more difficult grading for that randomly picked person. Each of you will be randomly graded according to the rubric and equal a number of times over the course of the semester. Let's see. Discussion summaries. Besides the random grading, each week 1 person from each small group will be designated as the discussion summarizer. And that person will write a summary of the discussion for the week at the end of the week, and then that gets posted in the discussion summary board. So, and then that is somewhere that all of you need to visit at the end of the week to read not only the summary from your own group member, but also to read the discussion summary of the other service group member. And I as well will be writing like a big grand discussion summary of what everybody was kind of talking about in the small group discussions, kind of trying to wrap things and integrate things for you. And that should help you by reading those. That should also help you in your process of integrating course content with your service experience for the reflection journal paper writing. So the discussion summarizers, those posts are due every Sunday, and everybody needs to read then and post that response by the following Sunday. And you can, if you look at the syllabus, there's very specifically on the assignment calendar when those things are due. Okay, let's see. The next thing is service shots. Now, this is something fun. These are photos that you take while you are engaged in your service learning. The first thing you need to do before you start taking photos is talk with your community partner and get permission to take photos. Every organization has different policies when it comes to taking photos. Some are very laid back and really don't care. Others, especially if they're working with children, have more guidelines as far as taking photos and if you need to get permission from parents and things like that. So just talk to your community partner and find out what sort of rules they have in regards to taking these photos. Every week you'll be posting 1 to 2 photos from your service and writing a brief caption of your post of your photo. And these photos then serve as not only like a journal for you in remembering your service experience, but it'll also help you compile images for the final presentation that you're going to be doing at the end of the 7 weeks. The first photo and caption is due Friday, July 3rd. Each of you are asked to respond to one of your classmates' service shots by Sunday of every week. So Sunday, July 5th, you each need to respond to one of these photos. And it doesn't have to be someone in your service group. It can be someone from the other service group too. Excuse me. Let's see. Upcoming assignments. I've been talking about these reflection journal papers. There are 3 of them. The first one is due Monday, July 6th. So like I said, don't hesitate in getting 1 instance of service in so that you can actually get full points. The papers are graded according to a rubric, and this is a rubric that's a common rubric for all VUSM 300. So everybody's reflective journal papers are graded according to this rubric. Look at the rubric for each specific paper, because what changes between each of the papers is the amount of points that you can get in each section. For instance, for this first journal paper, the emphasis is on your service experience. So you're going to get more points for talking about your service experience in a very concrete way, as well as talking about your personal observations. And look at the rubric for exactly what we're looking for in regards to those areas. For subsequent papers, the emphasis is going to be on different areas, and so you'll get more points in those emphasis areas. But on this first one, it's really on your service experience itself. I had made a mention of a crowdfunding project that we're going to be engaging in using Indiegogo. And I'm not going to give you a whole lot of specifics yet about that. You can, though, there is the area, the crowdfunding project area, and there are some links to tutorials that if you wanted to take a look at those starting now, it'll be really helpful as we move forward on that project. That'll be happening, though, later in the course. And then our 2 final assignments. One is a final integration paper, which is a longer paper that really just wraps everything together in a nice package. It is graded according to a rubric that is different than the reflective journal papers. So take a look at that if you are someone who likes to think ahead and likes to see a roadmap, and so you know where you're headed for that. There also is a final presentation, and this is going to be a multimedia presentation. So that's, and like I said, those service shot photos that you are going to be collecting may also, they don't have to be, but they may also be incorporated into that final presentation. So those service shots, assignments are there to help you start to prepare for this final presentation. And you can find specifics about the final presentation and that final integration paper on the Moodle site in the Week 7 folder. Expectations as far as attendance and participation. You are expected to access the Moodle site every 48 hours at a minimum. Would say that you need to be stopping in every day to do well in the course. But I will, consider good participation being every 48 hours. Because I understand, summertime, the people have things going on that they don't have during the school year. And that's kind of the beauty of an online course. Your attendance and participation grade will also be based upon completing assignments on time, since that's kind of how we do online courses, since you can't actually show up at a certain time to get a check mark in a grade, a attendance sheet. Getting your assignments in on time kind of serves in that capacity. You will also be receiving a peer evaluation grade, and that is a grade from your peers that's based on an evaluation that the people in your service groups do on you. And that happens towards the end of the course, and you'll have access to that, I think, week 6 or 7. Let's see, what else am I forgetting here? Next week, week 2 prep. So besides doing the assignments that are due this week, you also need to be preparing for next week, week 2. This week, you should be reading and learning through serving chapters 3, 4, and 6. And another book, Parker Palmer's Let Your Life Speak. You should be reading chapters 1 and 2 in here. And this is a section-specific book. It's one that I started using last semester and got super good feedback from my students on. They really enjoyed this book. It's really thin, as you can see. And they just said that he is speaking to a lot of the questions and concerns that people your age have as they're developing their careers and trying to figure out, what in the heck am I going to do with myself for the rest of my life? So you're reading that book this week too. Besides that, there is also a article, Velasquez et al., and that's posted on the Moodle site, as well as an excerpt from Rawls' A Theory of Justice. The Velasquez is about the common good, and it gives a really good framework for understanding what the heck is the common good. And then the Rawls piece is once again a common text for all VUSM 300 courses. And I will warn you that the Rawls is very heady reading. It looks like it should be a breeze to read. You're going to have to read it really slow, and you're going to have to read it at least twice to be able to figure out what the heck he's saying. So take your time, set out a good chunk of time to read that. And like I said, it's one of the foundational texts for this course, so make sure you spend some good time with it. And then there are also several short videos in the week 2 folder that you should view prior to week 2, because then you'll have that information in your pocket for our discussions. So just a few parting thoughts here. This is a really intense class. We are shoving 15 weeks of work into 7 weeks. It's kind of the nature of online classes. So there's lots of reading. This course in a live format involves lots of reading to begin with, and then we're trying to shove it into even a shorter amount of time. So just be prepared that you're going to need lots of library time, coffee shop time to get your reading done. Don't fall behind on the reading. It just will, all of the papers that you're writing as well as the discussions are content based, and if you fall behind on the reading, it will be hard to catch up because of the amount there is. This is my first time teaching online, and it's actually the first time that VUSM 300 has ever been taught online. So I am looking for your feedback. I want to hear from you what things are working, what things aren't working at all. Maybe you see a way that something could be tweaked a little that would make it easier or more interesting or whatever. I'm looking for your ongoing feedback. You can email me whenever to let me know how things are going. You all are designing this course for future students taking VUSM 300 online as much as I am. So because of that, I will guarantee to you that no one in this course will receive less than a C as their final grade, because this is my first time teaching online, first time for this course online, and you're helping to create it. You're going to be doing some good work for us. So, if you want better than a C, though, make sure you are doing the work that you need to do. What else is there? Feedback. Yeah, I guess that's it. So I'm really excited about this. I think this class is going to be pretty incredible. They didn't think that a service learning course could be adequately offered online, but they wanted to give it a try. And what I've designed so far, I think is really going to work well for all of us. So I hope that you have a great first week of class. It is the 4th of July this week. I have purposely kind of made things a little on the lighter side this week because I'm assuming people are going to be vacationing. I am starting on Thursday. So Thursday through Sunday, I will not be having virtual office hours. However, I will be available. I'll be checking my email at least once a day, and so I'll respond to your emails within 24 hours. But I won't have that like instant virtual office hour time Thursday through Sunday. So if you have any questions, send me an email, and I am really excited about doing this all with you. Thanks a lot. Take care.